I'm Lubrano. I'm the Senior Vice President of LIU's Global Crisis Management Operation based here in New York City. The majority of our customers are somewhere in the food business. And that could be anywhere in the supply chain, from growers through processors, through producers, wholesalers, even on the retail side. Anywhere in that supply chain I mentioned, from growers all the way through the retail level, there's always a risk of contamination. And that's exactly what we insure. We've always had, as long as I've been in this business, claims at every point of the food chain. Because again, anywhere that you touch food, you're subject to potential contamination. So has that changed where the contamination occurs? Not necessarily. What has changed, however, is the contamination has become discovered earlier in the process. In prior years, there was always a question of the spinach came from a farm, but I'm not sure where the contamination occurred. Was it at the growth level? Was it at the processing? Was it done at the handler level or on the retail side? Now, with the advances in science, it's much easier to determine exactly where the contamination occurred. That leads us to the responsible party, which of course in the insurance industry you always want to find out who's responsible so you know whose policy applies or what potential subrogation opportunities you might have. There are two significant implications that can occur if a company is determined to be responsible for product contamination. The first one is of course financial. There's a great expense attached to recalling a product, as well as the loss of potential income the company could have had if they could have continued to sell their product but no longer can because of the contamination. That's one. The expense is a very significant issue. The other potential exposure that a company has is the public relations issue. People will look differently at a particular grower of a product if they know their product is contaminated, and it could take years for the public to get more comfortable and start buying that company's product again after a very publicly known contamination. What our product at LIU does provide is access to public relations experts to help get out in front of the problem and identify what needs to be done from a public relations standpoint to make people more comfortable that the company is now producing product that is not contaminated or dangerous. That's available as part of our policy benefit. We have seen uninsured companies be flat out put out of business resulting from product contamination and the resultant expenses that go with that. So for most mid-sized companies, it's a survival act. You need to have this insurance in place to sort of ensure your survivability in the event of a very serious product contamination and resulting recall. The Food Safety Modernization Act has gotten a lot of attention and a lot of press, and that's gotten a lot of people thinking about the whole issue of product recall. There are many more suppliers of the product today than there were 5 years ago. So what that does is you have more people on the insurance side talking about it. Those two core issues have resulted in a significant increase in demand for these products. The Food Safety Modernization Act has certainly gotten a lot of press, and product recalls certainly get a lot of press. So those two things, I don't want to say equally, but have an input into the increased demand, certainly. We do manufactured goods is how we consider the product. And what you have to have is a manufactured good that could cause product damage or bodily injury during its normal usage. That's also a significant part of our book of business. We call that the product recall. As opposed to the contaminated product insurance solely meant for food, product recall insurance can be meant for the food business or manufactured goods as well. The significant difference is one has built into it the product recall losses resulting from a third party because of your product. The contaminated product insurance is more of a first-party cover. The insured themselves have a loss of income and expenses that gets covered by the contaminated products policy. Those are the core differences between the two policies. Do we have occasionally a company that buys both of them? Yes, we do. It's rare, but you can't have that. But without a deep analysis of the insured's operations, it's impossible to make that determination. What we've seen in the last few years is a significant need for an increase in the pricing, the cost of these products. We're beginning to see on an industry-wide basis the loss activity outpace the income the insurance companies are receiving for these products. So we're looking to raise prices on this product, and we think it's important on an industry-wide level to keep the industry healthy so we can respond when the insurers need our services.